Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome all to today's reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 7, verse 1 to 7. We will start our reading. Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langhayate girim, yat kripa tamham vande, Shri Gurum din tarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram, Hari Om Tat Sat. प्रभु कहे आइछे बात कभू ना कहिबा, गृहे रही कृष्ण नाम निरंतर लाइबा. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. Purport by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. It is not advisable in this age of Kali to leave one's family suddenly, for people are not trained as proper brahmacharis and grihasthas. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised the Brahman not to be eager to give up family life. It would be better to remain with his family and try to become purified by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly under the direction of a spiritual master. This is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If this principle is followed by everyone, there is no need to accept sannyas. In the next verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises everyone to become an ideal householder by offenselessly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and teaching the same principle to everyone he meets. Verse 128, Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesha, amar agya guru hena tar ei desha. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Shri Krishna, and as they are given in the Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, in this way become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. Purport: this is the sublime mission of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Many people come and inquire whether they have to give up family life to join the society. But that is not our mission. One can remain comfortably in his residence. We simply request everyone to chant the Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If one is a little literate and can read Bhagavad-Gita as it is and Srimad Bhagavatam, that is so much the better. These works are now available in an English translation and are done very authoritatively to appeal to all classes of men. Instead of living engrossed in material activities, people throughout the world should take advantage of this movement and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra at home with their families. One should also refrain from sinful activities, illicit sex, meat eating, gambling and intoxication. Out of these four items, illicit sex is very sinful. Every person should get married. Every woman especially must get married. If the women outnumber the men, some men can accept more than one wife. In that way, there will be no prostitution in society. If men can marry more than one wife, illicit sex life will be stopped. One can also produce many nice preparations to offer to Krishna: grain, fruits, flowers and milk. Why should one indulge in unnecessary meat eating and maintain horrible slaughterhouses? What is the use of smoking and drinking tea and coffee? People are already intoxicated by material enjoyment, and if they indulge in further intoxication, what chance is there for self-realization? Similarly, one should not partake in gambling and unnecessarily agitate the mind. The real purpose of human life is to attain the spiritual platform and return to Godhead. That is the summum bonum of spiritual realization. The Krishna conscious movement is trying to elevate human society to the perfection of life by pursuing the method described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his advice to Brahman Kurma. That is, one should stay at home, chant the Mahamantra, that's the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and preach the instructions of Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Verse 129, Kabhuna badhibe tomar vishya taranga punarapi ethani pabe morasanga. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised the Brahman Kurma, if you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Instead, if you follow these regulative principles, we will again meet here, or rather, you will never lose my company. Purport: this is an opportunity for everyone if one follows the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under the guidance of his representative and chants the Hare Krishna mantra, teaching everyone as far as possible the same principle. The contamination of the materialistic way of life will not even touch him. It does not matter whether one lives in a holy place like Vrindavan, Navadvip or Jagannath Puri, or in the midst of European cities where the materialistic way of life is very prominent. If a devotee follows the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he lives in the company of the Lord. Wherever he lives, he converts that place into Vrindavan and Navadvip. This means that materialism cannot touch him. This is the secret of success for one advancing in Krishna consciousness. Verse 130. E mata yanra ghare kare prabhu bhiksha, se ache kahe tanre karaye e shiksha. At whosoever house Sri Chaitanya accepted his alms by taking prasadam, he would convert the dwellers to his Sankirtan movement and advise them just as he advised the Brahman named Kurma. Purport: the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explained here very nicely. One who surrenders to him and is ready to follow him with heart and soul does not need to change his location, nor is it necessary for one to change his status. One may remain a householder, a medical practitioner, an engineer, or whatever, it doesn't matter. One only has to follow the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and instruct relatives and friends in the teachings of Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. One has to learn humility and meekness at home, following the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in that way, one's life will be spiritually successful. One should not try to be an artificially advanced devotee thinking, I'm a first-class devotee, so it is best not to accept any disciples. Such thinking should be avoided. One has to become purified at home by chanting the Mahamantra and preaching the principles enunciated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus one can become a spiritual master and be freed from contamination of material life. There are many Sahajiyas who decry the activities of the six Goswamis, Srila Rupa, Sanatan, Raghunath Das Bhatt, Raghunath, Jiva and Gopal Bhatt Goswamis, who are the personal associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and who enlightened the society by writing books on devotional service. Similarly, Narottam Das Thakur and other great acharyas like Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya and others accepted many thousands of disciples to induce them to render devotional service. However, there is a class of Sahajiyas who think that these activities are opposed to the principles of devotional service. Indeed, they consider such activities simply another phase of materialism. Thus, opposing the principles of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they commit offences at his lotus feet. They should better consider his instructions and, instead of seeking to be considered humble and weak, should refrain from criticizing the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who engage in preaching. To protect his preachers, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given much clear advice in these verses of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Verses 131 and 132, we are together. Pathe yaite devalay rahe ye grame, yanra ghare bhiksha kare se mahajane, kurme yaiche riti taiche kaila sarvathani, lila chale punha yavat na aila gosani. While on his tour, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spend the night at a temple by the road. Whenever he accepted food from a person, he would give him the same advice he gave the Brahman named Kurma. He adopted this process until he returned to Jagannath Puri from his South India tour. Verse 133, Ataiva ihan kahilan kariya vistar eimata janibe prabhura sarvatra vyavhar. Thus I have described the Lord's behavior elaborately in the case of Kurma. In this way you will know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dealings throughout South India. Verse 134, Eimata se ratri tahani rahila, pratah kale prabhu snan kariya chalila. Thus Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would remain at night in one place, and the next morning after bathing he would start again. Verse 135, Prabhura anuvraji kurma bahu dur aila prabhu tanre yatna kari ghare pathaila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, the Brahman Kurma followed him a great distance, but eventually Lord Chaitanya took care to send him back home. Verse 136, Vasudev Nam Eka Dvija Mahashaya Sarvange Galita Kushtha Date Kida Maya. There was also a Brahman named Vasudev who was a great person but was suffering from leprosy. Indeed, his body was filled with living worms. Verse 137, Anga haite ye kida khasiya padaya uthana se kida rakhe se thana. Although suffering from leprosy, the Brahman Vasudev was enlightened. As soon as one worm fell from his body, he would pick it up and place it back again in the same location. Verse 138, Ratri te sunishunila tenho gosanira agamana Dekhibare Aila Prabhate Kurmera Bhavana. Then one night Vasudev heard of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrival, and in the morning he came to see the Lord at the house of Kurma. Verse 139, Prabhura Gamana Kurma Mukhete Shunina Bhumite Padila Dukhe Murchithana. When the leper Vasudev came to the Kurma's house to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was informed that the Lord had already left. The leper then fell to the ground unconscious. Verse 140, Anek prakar vilap karite lagila se kshane asi prabhu tanre alingila. When Vasudev, the leper Brahman, was lamenting due not to being able to see Mahaprabhu, the Lord immediately returned to the spot and embraced him. Verse 141, Prabhu sparshe dukha sange kushtha dura gela ananda sahite anga sundar haila. When Mahaprabhu touched him, both the leprosy and his distress went to a distant place. Indeed, Vasudev's body became very beautiful to his great happiness. Verse 142, Prabhura kripa dekhi tanra vismay haila mana shloka padi pai dhari kare stvana. The Brahman Vasudev was astonished to behold the wonderful mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began to recite a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam touching the Lord's lotus feet. Verse 143, Kvaham daridraha papiyan kwa Krishna Shri Niketanaha Brahma Bandhur iti samaham bahubhyam parirambhitaha. He said, Who am I, a sinful poor friend of a Brahman, and who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full in 6 opulences? Nonetheless, he has embraced me with his 2 arms. Purport. This verse was spoken by Sudama Brahman in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8, 1.16 in connection with his meeting Lord Krishna. Verses 144 and 145, Bahu stuti kari kahe shuna dayamaye jive e guna nahi tomate e haya. Mor dekhi more gandhe palaye pamara hena more sparsha tumi swatantra ishvara. The Brahman Vasudev continued, O my merciful Lord, such mercy is not possible for ordinary living entities. Such mercy can be found only in you. Upon seeing me, even a sinful person goes away due to my bad bodily odor. Yet you have touched me. Such is the independent behavior of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse 146, Kintu achilan bhala adham hena ebe ahankar mora janmibe asiya. Being meek and humble, the Brahman Vasudev worried that he would become proud after being cured by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 147, Prabhu kahe kabhu tumar na habe abhiman nirantar kaha tumi Krishna Krishna naam. To protect the Brahman, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised him to chant the Hare Krishna mantra incessantly. By doing so, he would never become unnecessarily proud. Verse 148, Krishna upadeshi kara jiver nistar achirate Krishna tuma karibena angikar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also advised the Vasudev to preach about Krishna and thus liberate living entities. As a result, Krishna would very soon accept him as his devotee. Purport. Although Vasudev Vipra was a leper and had suffered greatly. Still, after Mahaprabhu cured him, he instructed him to preach Krishna consciousness. Indeed, the only return the Lord wanted was that Vasudeva preach the instructions of Krishna and liberate all human beings. That is the process of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Each and every member of the society was rescued from a very abominable condition, and now they are engaged in preaching the cult of Krishna consciousness. They are not only cured of the disease called materialism, but are also living a very happy life. Everyone accepts them as great devotees of Krishna, and their qualities are manifest in their very faces. If one wants to be recognized as a devotee of my Krishna, he should take to preaching work following the advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then one will undoubtedly attain the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Lord Krishna himself, without delay. Verse 149. Iteka kahiya Prabhu kaila antardhane dui vipra galagali kande Prabhur gune. After instructing the Brahman Vasudeva in that way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared from that place. Then the two Brahmanas, Kurma and Vasudeva, embraced each other and began to cry, remembering the transcendental qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Verse 150. Vasudevo dhar e kahila akhyan Vasudeva Amrita Prada Haila Prabhur Nam. The Sahib described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reclaimed the leper Vasudeva and so received the name Vasudeva Amrita Prada. Vasudeva Amrita Prada means the giver of nectar to Vasudeva. But the name Vasudeva Amrita Prada is mentioned in the verse composed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Verse 151. E ta kahila prabhura prathama gamana kurma darshan Vasudeva vimochana. Thus I end my description of the beginning of the tour of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his visiting the temple of Kurma and his liberating the leper Brahman Vasudeva. Verse 152. Shraddha kari e lila ye kare shravana achirate milaye tare Chaitanya charana. One who hears these pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great faith will surely very soon attain the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. When a person actually revives his consciousness with thoughts of Krishna by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he revives his spiritual life and becomes addicted to the service of the Lord. Only then can he act as an acharya. In other words, everyone should engage in preaching, following the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, one will be very much appreciated by Lord Krishna and will quickly be recognized by him. Actually, a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must engage in preaching in order to increase the followers of the Lord. By thus preaching actual Vedic knowledge all over the world, one will benefit all mankind. Verse 153. Chaitanya Lilar Adi Ant Nahi Jani Say Likhis Ye Maha Tera Mukhe Shuni. I admit that I do not know the beginning or the end of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. However, whatever I have written, I have heard from the mouths of great personalities. Verse 154. Ithe aprad mora na laiyo bhakt gana toma sabar charan more ekant sharan. O devotees, please do not consider my offences in this regard. Your lotus feet are my only shelter. Verse 155. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Yar Asha Chaitanya Charitamrit Kahe Krishna Dasa. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purpose to Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, 7th chapter, describing the start of the Lord's tour of South India and the liberation of Brahman Vasudeva. So next time we will start chapter 8. Thank you for joining. Hare Tat Sat, Hare Krishna. And tomorrow is the Ekadashi, and it's falling in the Purushottam month, so it becomes even more pious. So happy Ekadashi, Padmini Ekadashi to all of you. Hare Krishna.